Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Now if you are new around here, please don't forget to subscribe, push that like button, and don't forget to leave your comment down below when you're done watching the video. Now on today's video, relationships today just don't seem to work. Men and women just seem to be oil and water, and some people might say this is only with today's generation, but the truth is I don't think that we've ever figured relationships out. I think people before just used to stick it out of survival, but most of those relationships were toxic and broken to the core. And I think it's only in today's age that we are able to really reflect and look beyond to try find the answers on what can make us more compatible and what makes successful relationships. Or maybe men and women are just not compatible. Has anyone ever thought of that? Because sometimes I really think the only thing we're compatible for is procreation, and that's it. Nothing else. But let's get into the video and look into what people think makes relationship, including yours, unsuccessful these days.
So I watched a couple's video that started off as a prank but ended up as a replay of a childhood wound. So this man comes into the car and he's smiling and he says, I got a compliment from a woman in the shop and she said I had nice lips. The wife is like, who's that woman? He says, I don't know, but I said, she said, you've got nice lips. I said, thank you, but I'm married. Then she says, so I'm the hindrance in your life because clearly you enjoy those women's compliments. He says, no, not at all. I just found it like it was a compliment, so I just took it. Baby, do you think I have nice lips? She says, I'm not going to answer that. Do those people that compliment you know that you sleep with empty cans of Coke next to your bed? Do they know that your bed has a lot of plastic wrappers next to it? Do they know that you take 30 minutes in the bathroom? Do they know that you snore? So I could visibly see the guy's face go down like that. That moment was when the guy's childhood wounds popped up. Think of a 4-year-old when they come to you with an ugly looking drawing and they say, Mom, look at this. And you're like, what's that? That's exactly what that guy felt. He wanted to feel seen by his woman, but his woman instead criticized him. It wasn't that he was excited about the compliment from another woman. He was excited because the woman made him feel seen, which means that the woman soothed a wound that he is personally struggling with. And when he took that wound to his wife to say, okay, soothe me too, she rejected him. So this is how resentment grows in relationships, where you feel unsafe in your relationship to a point that your partner does not become your first point of contact because you are not sure how she or he is going to handle your emotions. And after a while, that level of emotional unavailability and resentment in the relationship becomes the cause of the relationship breakdown.
This is a little message to my couples out there. If you allow people to intervene into your relationship, whether it be family, whether it be friends, whether it be your job, I don't know, and I don't care who it is, but if you continue to allow them to intervene, I'm telling you right now, your relationship will not last. It is so important that whenever you're going through something in your relationship, that the first person that you go to is God. After God, allow God to veer you to someone who can mentor you, who can just speak life into your relationship, into you, and give you the right advice. A lot of us are seeking advice that are not godly advice, and we know it. We just want to hear what they have to say to make us feel good. But the reality is, if you continue to do that, your relationship will not last. Put people out and go to God first and let Him be the one to guide you to who you need to speak to.
4 signs that your relationship won't last. They always criticize you. Your partner brings up complaints like you never listen or you always do that. That means they're not complaining about what's happening, but they're criticizing your character. Defensiveness. This means that your partner is making excuses, but without showing that they regret anything. The silent treatment. This is when your partner shuts down and doesn't talk to you. Contempt. This means that you're rolling your eyes or mocking your partner, or in general, you're being sarcastic all the time. Every couple may experience some of these signs, but couples who regularly argue with these 4 types of behavior will break up.
Most relationships are suffering today because most men are just emotionally unavailable. And it's so sad because what it's doing is it's preventing us from forming deeper connections with the women we say we love. We're having a conversation. She is expressing herself emotionally, the hurt and pain we've caused her. But because we're not emotionally available, we dismiss how she feels. It causes resentment, and we never change. All because we won't allow ourselves to open up to how she feels. If we want longer lasting, committed, deeper connected, loving relationships, we are going to have to become emotionally available.
I'd like to quickly share with you a story regarding a conversation that I had with a new client of mine. He's a 27-year-old young man who found me on TikTok. And it is my hope that what I share with him regarding his relationships will be a blessing to you the way it was to him, and certainly the way it was to me. He's 27 years old. He said he's been dating since he was about 16 or 17. And he cannot understand why all of his relationships fail. I said, every single relationship you've been in has failed and ended bad. He said, yes. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, well, it always ends with the woman doing something to hurt him or to harm him or cause him pain. I said, okay. And I said, you've been dating since 16 or 17. He said, yes. I said, how many relationships have you been in? He said, maybe 6 or 7. I said, and every single last one of them have ended with her hurting you? He said, maybe not the first 1 or 2. I said, how did they end? He said, well, it ended with me, breaking up with them. And I said, how did that go? He said, well, I was young and, I may not have handled it the best, but, I wasn't interested in one of them. He said in another one, I was seeing a couple of people and the person that I was supposed to be serious with found out about it. And, I handled it bad. And we broke up and she was upset and I didn't really care. And that was just kind of that. So I said to him, I said, have you seen the movie Color Purple? He said, yeah. He said, my parents talk about it all the time. I said, cool. I said, now I'll be honest with you. I like the movie. I think the movie was made well, but there are parts of the movie that I'm not a big fan of. And that's for a different conversation for a different day. I said, but overall, it's an award-winning movie. I said, do you remember the end of the movie where Celie looks at Mr.? They're at the table and he's calling her all of these names because he's literally given her hell for most of her life. And she stops and she points at him like this and says, until you do right by me, everything you think about is going to fail. He started laughing and said, yes, sir, I remember that. I said, perfect. I said, I want to offer this to you. And let me offer this to you that are watching this video the same way I offered it to him. It's so funny that in this day and time, we believe in everything but reaping and sowing. People think that there are higher powers. For a lot of us, it's God or Jesus. And for others of us, it's other things. And I always find it amazing how we believe in higher powers, but we don't believe in reaping and sowing, meaning you get back what you put out. And I said to him, let me share with you a personal story. This was many years ago. I was seeing someone and entertaining somebody else at the same time. And the person that I was entertaining at the same time found out about the person that I was seeing. And I was much younger here, and it did not end well. It didn't end well, but what I never did in that situation was apologize to both people. I apologized to the person I was with, but I didn't apologize to the person that I was entertaining on the side. This is a true story. And so several years ago, or several years after that, I reached out to this person on social media, sent her a message because I didn't have her contact number, and I included a mutual friend of ours. And I said, hey, such and such, I want to take this opportunity to apologize to you for the way things went down because I was completely wrong. There's no excuse for what happened. I was out of pocket, and life's too short to walk around and not own the things that we do wrong. And I know she received the message because, you know, the little read thing shows up, and then the person that was copied, who's a mutual friend, also saw the message and, you know, commented to me about, you know, how special that was. And it's so funny that from that point forward, things in my life as it related to relationships in general, not just with women, but just friendships in general, turned out a lot better. He said, wow. I said, this is what I want to offer to you. It is very possible that the reason why the relationships you have attempted to be in are not working because you have never made right the wrongs of your past. Now, I want to say this caveat. If you don't believe in a higher power, if you don't believe in reaping and sowing, this video isn't for you. If you don't believe that there's a higher authority that can cause things to come back to you, good or bad, this video isn't for you. But I want to say this to you the way I said to him. I said that while you seem to be a great guy now, I believe that we oftentimes pay for the mistakes of our past in our future when we don't make those mistakes right. And I want to lift this to those of you because I have in this culture never been more just thrown off about how this culture celebrates being mean. Especially women celebrate being mean as if being mean is a badge of honor. When people talk to you, you don't respond back. When people say hello, you ignore them. When people see you in public, you turn your nose up. And even guys too, who talk about how they handle people any kind of way and forget her, she ain't nobody anyway, blah, blah, blah. I said to him, you're 27, but eventually you're going to hit what's called the wall. And the wall is that thing that you run into that reminds us all that time is undefeated. It's going to continue to pass. Until you learn how to apologize to people and admit your wrongs, you can expect your relationships, your friendships, your connections with people to either fail or have a whole lot of problems. The fact of the matter is, many of you are failing in relationships and connections with people because at the core of who you are, you're really mean as hell. You're mean. You don't apologize when you're wrong. You don't say, I'm sorry when you've offended people. You don't own your mistakes or flaws. You always have a reason or an excuse to justify why you do what you do. And I'm here to tell you, what goes around comes back around. The best thing you can do to make yourself available for meaningful, lasting relationships in the future is to manage how you disconnect from people. Yes, things are going to fall apart. You're not going to always hit it off with everybody you meet, but the most valuable thing you can do is disconnect from people the right way. Even if they do you wrong, even if you were not the one that was wrong in the situation, when you learn how to disconnect from people the right way, you are setting yourself up to reap positive things in the future. This doesn't mean that somebody may not do you wrong in the future. This doesn't mean that somebody may not handle you wrong in the future. But what it does mean is that you're not going to reap nonsense from your past into your future because you've handled your past the right way. Learn how to disconnect from people and situations the right way so that your future doesn't pay for the behaviors of your past. I hope this made sense. If it did, I want you to type church in the comments with 3 R's. And then remember, you've got 2 jobs. 1, be better today than what you were yesterday. And 2, don't forget what I told you.
So this is you, and this is your partner. You guys have different shapes, yet for whatever reason, you think you can make a relationship work. Relationships are built on compatibility. So we're gonna try and put in these 2 shapes to see if they can fit well with each other. So this is a classical example of different personalities, an example of different love languages, an example of different goals, different desires, different dreams, different ways of loving your partner, different expectations. So no matter how much you try to twist and turn this thing, it does not fit because it is not compatible. A compatible relationship is supposed to look like this. One partner should be able to fit into the other partner's world. So this then means that already the personality or whatever related issues are taken care of. These 2 people can start focusing on what builds a relationship, which is similarities. So maybe shared values, shared dreams, shared goals to strengthen their relationship. But as long as you are here, you won't get to the space of shared things. You will always be trying to twist and turn and shift your relationship to make it work. And in the end, you will realize that these 2 shapes do not get into each other.
Just because you live together doesn't mean you're spending time together. What happened to the fun activities you guys used to do prior to moving in? The date nights, the vacations, the passion. Just because you're waking up next to your partner doesn't mean you're spending time with them. Remember that. A lot of the times we move in or your partner moves in and everything's like, well, I'm here now. I made it. I don't have to do much anymore. That's not true, and that's how the relationship dies. It dies. It dies out. You gotta keep the fire going. So how do you do that? By spending more time with your partner, going outside of the house, doing fun activities. Heck, do things that you guys never done before. So remember, just because you live together doesn't mean you're spending time together.